Hello everyone, welcome to my channel JG Edu Center. Today in this video lecture we are going to discuss the solutions of science mock test for class 7th. This is the second part of the video wherein we are going to discuss question number 4 to question number 10. So the statement of question number 4 is, in the given figure shows the color changes in test tubes 1, 2 and 3 when China rose indicator is added to the respective solutions in test tube 1, 2 and 3. After that, a diagram is shown in which 3 test tubes are given and China rose indicator is added in all the 3 test tubes. So, in order to answer this question, we should know the color changes with China rose indicator. So, China rose indicator turns magenta, dark pink in acidic solution. I repeat, China rose indicator turns magenta or dark pink in acidic solution and turns green in basic solution. China rose indicator turns magenta, dark pink in acidic solutions and turns green in basic solution. In test tube 1, magenta color is observed. That means test tube 1 contains acidic solution. Similarly, it can be seen that in test tube 3, green color is observed, which means test tube 3 contains a basic solution. And in test tube 2, no color change is observed. That means test tube 2 contains neutral solution. So if we look at the options, then option D is the correct answer. In option D it is written, first of all, lemon juice. So lemon juice is an acid. So in test tube 1, lemon juice is present. Sugar solution is neutral. That means in test tube 2, sugar solution is present. And lime water is a basic solution. That means in test tube 3, lime water is present. So the correct answer is option D, lemon juice, sugar solution and lime water. Now the next question, question number 5. The statement of question number 5 is, paper pins are stuck to a metal rod with wax and a lighted candle is kept below the rod as shown in the diagram. After the diagram, the question is, what does this experiment illustrate? And 4 options are given. Now the figure which is given in question 5 is also given in NCERT, and this question is based on how heat is transferred by the process of conduction. So here the candle is going to heat up the metal rod. The candle is going to heat up the metal rod. The wax will melt and it will be observed that the pins will fall off one by one. The wax will melt on getting heated and the paper pins will get detached. So the paper pins will fall off one by one. Pin P, which is here pin P, this pin P will fall off first because the heat travels along the length of the rod from the hot end to the cold end. This we have seen in the process of conduction, that heat travels from hot end to the cold end. So the heat travels along the length of the rod from the hot end, which is near the candle, to the cold end, which is the other end. So on that basis, the pin P is going to fall first and pin S is going to fall at the last place. So this experiment shows that heat gets transferred from hot part of a body to cold part. So the correct answer is option D. The answer of question number 5 is option D. Now the next question is question number 6. The statement is, a student took an iron rod and a wooden rod and wrapped each of them in a piece of paper. These were then heated as shown. It was found that the paper around the iron rod does not burn, whereas the one around the wooden rod catches fire. It is because after that figure is given and 4 options are given. So here we have 2 rods, one is wooden and the other is iron rod. Now we know that wood is a bad conductor of heat, whereas a metal is a good conductor of heat. Wood is a bad conductor or insulator of heat, but a metal is a good conductor of heat. Now, when paper wrapped around iron rod is heated, its heat energy is readily trapped by the iron rod. The heat energy is readily trapped by the iron rod. The heat supplied to the paper is conducted to the iron rod. As a result, iron rod starts heating up and paper will not burn, because whatever heat is supplied to the paper, that heat is being transmitted to the iron rod. So paper is not going to burn. In place of that, iron rod will start heating up. Iron rod will start getting heated up. But on the other hand, wood, being an insulator, will not take up the heat supplied to paper, and thus the paper wrapped around the wooden rod will burn, because wood is an insulator and whatever heat is supplied to the paper will not be transferred to the wood. As a result, the paper wrapped around the wooden rod will burn. So if we look at the options, then out of these 4 options, C will be the correct one. The C option is, iron, being a good conductor of heat, conducts away the heat given to the paper, and this is the only reason that the paper wrapped around iron rod will not burn, whereas the paper wrapped around wooden rod will burn. So C is the correct answer. Iron, being a good conductor of heat, conducts away the heat given to the paper. Now the next question is question number 7. Rohan wants to test whether a white object or a black object would heat up faster in the sun. The given picture shows you his experiment. These thermometers were left out in the sun for 30 minutes. Which of the following statements is true? So you can see in the figure that in this question, thermometer 1 is placed in air. Thermometer 2 is inserted in black object and thermometer 3 is inserted in white object. Now we know that black objects absorb heat much faster as compared to white or bright objects. Black objects absorb heat much faster as compared to white or bright light colored objects. Here thermometer 2 is showing the temperature for black body and thermometer 3 is showing the temperature for white body. So black body will absorb the heat faster and will keep on becoming more and more hotter with the passage of time. Black body will absorb the heat faster and it will keep on becoming more and more hotter as the time passes by. So in this thermometer 2, the temperature recorded will be the highest. In thermometer 2, the temperature recorded will be the highest. White object will reflect back the heat. White object or bright objects will reflect back the heat. So in thermometer 3, the temperature recorded will be the lowest. In thermometer 3, the temperature recorded will be the lowest. And thermometer 1, which is placed in air, this thermometer 1 which is placed in air will have temperature in between the other two thermometers. So now if we look at the options one by one, then option A is thermometer 1 reads the same as thermometer 3. No, this is incorrect. Option B is thermometer 2 shows a higher temperature than thermometer 3. This is the correct answer. Thermometer 2 is having the highest temperature. So thermometer 2 is having higher temperature than thermometer 1 and 3 also. So B is correct. Otherwise you can see the other two options. C is thermometer 3 shows a higher temperature than thermometer 1. No. The temperature will be maximum in thermometer 2 and will be minimum in thermometer 3. So the correct answer of question number 7 is option B. Thermometer 2 shows a higher temperature than thermometer 3. Now the next question number 8. In an experiment shown in figure, the water near the top of the test tube starts boiling, but the wax in the test tube does not melt completely. What do you conclude? After that, a figure is shown and 4 options are given. Now in the figure, it can be seen that there is boiling water in the upper part of the tube. This is the upper part of the tube and it contains boiling water. And wax is present in the lower part of this tube. So upper part of this tube contains boiling water and lower portion of the tube contains wax. Now the wax does not melt because the heat from the upper part of the tube has not reached its lower part. The heat of the boiling water which is present in the upper part of the tube, that heat has not reached the lower part and that is the reason the wax does not melt. Now what is the reason? This clearly shows that water does not conduct heat to the wax. This boiling water has not conducted heat to the wax, which means that water is a poor conductor of heat. In water, convection is seen. Conduction does not happen in water. That means water is a poor conductor of heat. Although you must have studied that water is a good conductor of electricity. But remember this thing, that water is a good conductor of electricity, but when it comes to heat, then water is a poor conductor of heat. Water does not conduct heat. So this is the reason that wax present in the lower part of the test tube is not melting, because the heat has not reached from the boiling water to the wax. And if we look at the four options, then option B is correct. It is written that water is a poor conductor of heat. So this is the reason that the wax is not melting in this case. Now question number 9. In the test tubes A and B shown below, yeast was kept in sugar solution. The products of respiration expected in tube A are, after that figure is shown and four options are given. Now if you look carefully at the figure, then you can notice this thing, that in test tube A there is oil film written. Oil film is written in test tube A. That means in test tube A, above the sugar solution, a thin oil film is present, whereas this oil film is not present in test tube B. So this is the basic difference which we are seeing in test tube A and B. In test tube A there is oil film, and in test tube B there is no oil film. So in test tube A, due to oil film, oxygen is absent. This oil film will not allow oxygen to enter the sugar solution. So due to the presence of oil film, oxygen is absent in test tube A, and thus yeast, the microorganism yeast, will carry out anaerobic respiration. Yeast is an anaerobe. It can carry out anaerobic respiration. That means it can respire without oxygen. So the yeast present here will carry out anaerobic respiration, and we know what are the products formed because of anaerobic respiration. In anaerobic respiration, the products formed are ethanol. There is a word written here in options, ethanol. Ethanol is nothing but alcohol. So the products formed will be ethanol, which means alcohol, and along with that carbon dioxide gas will be released. So in test tube A, yeast is going to carry out anaerobic respiration, and the products will be ethanol and carbon dioxide. So the correct answer for question number 9 is part A. Ethanol and carbon dioxide will be formed in test tube A. Now question number 10. Match column 1 with column 2 and select the correct answers using the code given below the columns. So columns are given, column 1 and column 2, and after that 4 options of matching are provided. So here yeast will be matched with alcohol. Yeast A part will be matched with second alcohol, because yeast carries out anaerobic respiration and alcohol is formed in the process. So the yeast here will be matched with alcohol. Next, diaphragm will be matched with chest cavity. This diaphragm will be matched with chest cavity because diaphragm increases or decreases the volume of the chest cavity during inhalation or exhalation. During inhalation or exhalation, the chest cavity increases or decreases in volume because of the movement of diaphragm. So diaphragm B will be matched with third part here in column 2, chest cavity. After that, skin will be matched with earthworm, as earthworm breathes through its skin, and similarly fish breathes through gills, so fish will be matched with gills. So if we look at the four options, then option B is correct. Yeast will go with alcohol, diaphragm will go with chest cavity, skin will be matched with earthworm, and lastly fish will be matched with gills. So the correct option is option B. So that's all in this video. Some more solutions will be discussed in the next video. Thank you.